Hello.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We're here talking about fires again, but we got some.
Welcome. Yeah, welcome back to Armageddon
Yeah,
2025.
welcome back. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Love that for us, but it is what it is. Apparently, that's all that true crime is talking about these days. I mean, unless you're kind of just truly ignoring it, right?
It's hard. I think it'd be impossible to ignore it. California's too big of a part of our country.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, and I was watching something today. I can't remember what. Maybe it was just news, and they were asking an expert, like, is this going to be, because they were saying Maui 2.0, and then they were like, oh, what are we looking at? A couple years to rebuild? They're like decades if they rebuild.
Oh my
Like,
god.
yeah, decades.
Oh my god.
So it's a huge deal. So here we are.
Yeah. It's a crazy huge deal. How's it going, Eric? What do you think?
It's going good. I think it's 45,000 acres, which is like 78 square miles,
Wow.
which is
Wow.
which is a lot of rebuilding. So decades sounds about right.
So how much of that square miles do you guys think is the mountains and the hills part that didn't have houses?
I think there was a lot of structures. I mean, California is so sort of like jammed in. So even though there was some space without houses, like the ones that did have homes, they were all back to back homes, and you're still losing so much. So, I mean, yeah, you lost some of the hills for sure, but like all the Palisades is gone.
Yeah.
And that was all the like bougie homes, right?
Well,
Yep.
I mean,
Bougie.
all of Altadena's gone, and that was not the bougie homes.
Yeah.
So it's both, like two places that are like equally gone, which is weird.
Yeah, I'm not
Hmm.
familiar with the mountains being on the East Coast. I did live in Vegas for a little while, but that's not
Did you
California.
ever make it to the West Coast, California?
No, I lived in Vegas and I never made it to California.
Hey, get to ducking point.
You get to Ducking Point.
We're
What do you
here.
think?
You're so great. So glad you could join us
Thanks for
for
joining us.
Armageddon.
Get to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is it Armageddon? What do we think? Do we think
Uh,
that so our title for tonight is about the missing weaponry. So there's stuff missing from the reserve center there in Tustin. And I think back to the beginning and back to the point you were making, like are we seeing different crimes happening in circumstance, like the opportunities there, or are we seeing a lot of things happening like this is all one big thing?
Well, let's each say what we think about it, because I think that's a very like valid question. Um, First of all, I scoured the regular news, the mainstream media, to see if I could find anything about the break-in at the
Uh-huh.
military base,
Mm-hmm.
and just so that we could have, something to react to, something from the mainstream media. And it was crickets. Like it's big on X, it is tiny on YouTube, and it's non-existent in the mainstream media, which tells me that it's a huge faux pas. Like,
Uh-huh.
um, but also, if we cast our minds back to like literally a week ago when we were discussing like hidden terror cells within um, the USA that was pre-planted and pre-planned, and then we imagine, why this could be happening and why this would be such an opportune time for somebody to burst into a military base. I looked at all the past stories, because quite a few past stories pop up when you put like Humvees stolen from military bases.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a crazy man who like drove it around San Diego one time and like was very obviously the guy that like stole it. Like he
Okay.
wasn't trying to like
mhm.
hide that he'd stolen this military vehicle.
Okay,
But
was there alcohol involved?
I mean, the people randomly will break in and get like one or two things, but they're not getting like tripods and binoculars and medical supplies and bayonets. Like this was massive. This is a huge story, And the fact that it's being buried by the mainstream media is like extremely perplexing, but also should raise a lot of alarms for Americans, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the people that I found that are talking about it are Canadian.
Right. There were creators you found that are talking about it.
And I'd like to know from Get to Ducking Point, how did she find out about it? Did she know about it before we were posting about it in our community and talking about it tonight? Or was this something like, I know JLR, shout out to JLR, he does cover that. Ikid also, he briefly covered it. I think both those two creators have been incredible during this, the wildfires. Like they've been my go-to just to watch the live streams.
Yeah.
And they have both mentioned it, but like mainstream media has not.
Yeah, that's weird. I hadn't thought about that, mostly because I hadn't had time to look at mainstream media, though I do see I saw some Anderson Cooper, I saw some other CNN things, but everything I've seen on YouTube, because I haven't had time to turn on the actual TV, is just a loop. So it's kind of it's almost disinformation at one point. If it's been on loop for like 3 or 4 hours and they're like, we've got this many whatever, like I think I found something, the amount of people who have passed is like way up. Like one article was like 16 and one
20,
said
24. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's way up. It was quarter of that 2 days ago. So
Eric, what do you think? What's your hot take
about the missing military stuff? I think to do that, it's organized, and I would think it could be like sleeper cells like that, like taking advantage of the situation. It's a good time to go in there when everyone's distracted with a fire, which I think they could even started. But I mean, that makes the most sense because it's kind of like a warehouse, and people like scope that out to know what's in it.
Yeah, the choices of items is a huge red flag. Also, to your point about like man-made fires, I just scratched the surface on TikTok, and literally like the B-list celebrities are talking about it, about like it's a well-known fact that people are seeing people lighting fires in grates. It's impossible to tell homeless people from regular people because that's kind of like the style. Like they kind of wear like all the same kind of type of clothes, I guess. So a lot is being blamed on homeless people, but like the thinking is it's not homeless people, but there are a lot of fires seemingly to pop up out of nowhere that were nowhere near active fires or embers or anything like that. So that is a huge like untold story again in the media. I think maybe the motive for that would be they don't want the mass panic, but you have to remember, like, it's 2025. People are going to get the stories out regardless. Like, look at us, right?
Right. Get to ducking. Honestly, not sure I heard it from one of you guys the other night, but probably on X, and I think the fatalities could be in the hundreds.
Right.
Yeah, I see that because we see a lot of videos of people like, I'm surrounded, and they're like in their home.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people were like, I'm going to be fine.
Many. I think California is the type of place where they like waited to film themselves, maybe. Like,
oh yeah, it's so sad.
I saw quite a few like, we're evacuating. Like, this is my evacuation outfit.
No, gosh.
So when I first heard about this, someone said it started at 6:30 at night Tuesday. I was watching Khalil Landry, who lives in Santa Monica. And he said he noticed it in the mountains, a fire at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the winds were starting to pick up. So he said it started in the mountains 10 in the morning, and then it just grew. Like as the day went on, it got bigger and bigger, and like it was insane the way he has videos of it growing, as like a whole bunch of still shots of it growing, and he had other videos of the wind blowing, live videos. It's pretty insane.
I'm hoping that somebody makes a video of the progression of the fire from like satellite, like watching it grow would be Obviously, it's tragic. I don't really
Watch
know.
this video, the one I put in the thing. He shows it growing. You can see it growing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
good video.
Cool.
Exactly for that. It's a good video for that.
Awesome. I will watch
So
that.
I don't know if we're ready for this transition, but you guys had a super incredible exclusive interview today with a person who we're going to call a subject matter expert with regards to the military base and the break-in and the items that were chosen and why exactly they might not be able to be found. And then there were 4 scenarios, and I don't know any of these, so I'm hearing it for the first time with you guys. So I'm super on the edge of my seat about that. I posted about it in my community tab, and I'm super excited to hear how the interview went, what your take was, and what you guys think now.
I loved it. I loved talking with the person we spoke with because, again, endless knowledge. I love it. I spoke with him before, and it's awesome. I'm going to get him on here one day. But for now, it's really, really cool to have somebody who knows this much. Like he gave me the coordinates of of where so I could look it on Google Maps, so I could actually look at the full view of where this is at. And that was like a different perspective because it's not very big and it's in the middle of town. And in my head, I thought it was a military base.
Yeah, me too.
But it's an Army Reserve Center, so it's a center where they're keeping and they specialize in ammunition. So it's like a transfer center for ammo. So they don't store it there, but they transfer it through there, and they have like the trucks there to move it and stuff. But they don't have any there, which is good to know. No ammo was taken, thankfully.
So what did he say? Like, how did he open the conversation? Like, what did you ask first? Like, give me the goods.
I love it. Eric's
Yeah, he said, like, explain that it's like a warehouse. Like where they
Okay, so
keep
the military base is like, it's like a storage facility kind of?
Yeah, it's like this.
Okay.
There's not people running around there like a military base. He said there might be a recruiter there in the daytime, but not for like maybe from like 9 to 5 or something. It's all fenced in and
Mm-hmm.
like a warehouse, and that's all the supplies are inside. The Humvees are inside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the Humvees don't have GPS on them. They're
Not
not.
making me feel better. Get to Ducking
They're,
Point says, no kidding, me too.
they're not equipped
Okay.
with that because what do you
No,
say?
the GPS is a different system completely.
Yes.
That was wild. That was wild. So the GPS is not permanently installed in those Humvees. It's its own unit, and it's assigned to the person. The person has to check it out. A person has to put it in the vehicle, and a person has to, pull it back out of the vehicle. And
Like a Garmin. You ever see
yeah,
it?
yeah, and it's accounted for. So it's like a process. Like it's stored in a locked area. It's not in the vehicle. And
See,
I also
I find that so fascinating because I did hear that part coming from his significant other. And what she said was that the GPS is assigned to the rank and the person. If you're a higher rank, you were likely to have a GPS. If you were just an average Joe person gonna use that Humvee, you would not have the GPS. So there's not one permanently installed in the GPS, but it is something that follows around a higher ranking member of the military. That's correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're in charge of it, correct? Yes.
Okay. So did you ask this subject matter expert, maybe we'll call him like Tim or something like that, did you ask him like how did they find those specific items?
Well,
Were they
a lot of
looking
them
for
are.
them, or did they luck into them? Like,
He said some of them are inside the Humvees.
Yeah, like the medical equipment is probably first aid kits. Because they wouldn't store medical equipment out. Like important medical equipment is going to be stored it's not going to be stored out. It's not going to be available. It's like some of it needs to be stored in a cold unit. Some of it needs to be kept room temperature. Like specific medical supplies wouldn't be there. Basic first aid kit would probably be in the Hummer, is what it sounded like.
Well, what about the bayonets? Like that's the one that really like freaks me out. Can we describe what a bayonet is for people like me who are just learning this stuff?
A
Uh,
bayonet is like, what's the best way to say it? Like a Rambo survivor knife that hooks onto an M16.
right.
Oh my gosh. So could I use it? Like could I learn it if I knew how to shoot a
You could go.
gun?
You could go buy one. He said
You
you.
could,
We could all
and
go. All the stuff they took. That's the
Uh-huh.
wild part. All the stuff that was stolen is stuff that, as citizens, as
Mm-hmm.
civilians, I mean, and I don't know about in Canada. I would assume it's probably the same. That we can go
Probably
buy
not.
it. We can go buy it at an
at
Army
a gun
Navy
shop, yeah.
store. At an Army Navy store, and I guess maybe you probably don't have that there, but you probably have something to the like. Do you have something that where you go buy
Um,
like camouflage camping things?
Yeah, like
I mean, we're not a bayonet type society. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so I have a question. So what significance did he like put to the items chosen, or did he? Like what did he think about that?
they could all be sold like to anywhere.
Yeah.
Any one of those items you could go find someone on like the street to buy,
Nothing
a
except
business or something. Yeah,
so
even
So he
even
wasn't
the trucks.
troubled by the type of items chosen?
not really. It didn't seem like it, to be honest. It didn't seem like any more troubled than the happening itself, you know.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
was like
yeah, get to ducking point. It's a knife that attaches to the rifle, so it doesn't have a rifle with it. It's just a knife that was
So
a
are you
separate
shooting the
unit.
knife? Are you
no,
shooting the
no.
knife?
The knife
No,
goes
no,
on top. Like you could take. Say you got the gun and you want to use it as like a stick, right? With the knife
Uh-huh.
on the end, so you could
Uh-huh.
slash people like this, and wave it back and
Oh.
forth. Like, and you just use the knife. Like if you're
Oh.
close up combat.
And so
Oh.
I asked him when that something like that would be used, and he said they probably haven't been used since Vietnam.
Right. Yeah.
In combat, they probably haven't
It's
been
like
something that's been used since Vietnam.
Rambo.
Right.
What did he attribute? Now this is a bigger question, but did he think right off the top of his head, could he think of a motive? Like was he
I like
thinking that
that.
he had a clear motive in mind or no?
He thought that there was 4 plausible scenarios here.
Okay,
Possible.
so this is the big moment for us, the 4 scenarios, because I haven't heard any of them.
Right. And so it was first scenario is that it was an inside job.
Mm-hmm.
Second scenario is a former soldier, not formal, disgruntled, like a disgruntled former, I keep saying
Mm-hmm.
formal. Or 3, just thieves, or like an opportunist,
Mm-hmm.
or 4, terrorists.
So the last option is the worst.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're all not good, but yeah, that last one's pretty frightening.
The last one's not good.
And I actually kind of started that conversation thinking terrorists. And the longer this day goes, and the more things I've been watching of mostly small creators in LA,
Mm-hmm.
the more that I'm thinking that more it's something else.
And the setup of it is like when I first heard it, I'm like, what were people sleeping on the job? Like, how does something like this get robbed? But it's pretty
Yeah.
much, it's not, it's like a warehouse is the best idea. That's fenced in, there's alarms and cameras and stuff, but nobody's
Mm-hmm.
watching it. So people could be on the outside knowing at 5 o'clock, this place, everyone leaves and we can go do whatever we want. Like, they supposedly cut through a fence, right?
Yeah.
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 So, like, if no one's around, you could get away with that. And you know what I mean? In the dark. Like that was the one thing that puzzled me. How did it even get in there in the first place? But now that I understood the situation and what it is, makes more sense and it's pretty easy to get into. Which it
Inside
shouldn't
jobs
be.
plus drug dealers plus
Yeah.
cartel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cartels came up right away in our friend group talking about it.
Mhm.
But for me, like my mind instantly goes the worst case scenario. I don't know why, but maybe I'm just morbid. I think terror cells right away. I have a bigger question because I think that this is telling to me at least is the attempt to get the uniforms.
Uh-huh.
Like
That's scary.
What if anything did he take of that? Like, did he take issue with that? The fact that they tried to get uniforms? Like, what does that tell us?
Yeah, we didn't talk about that actually.
But I'll tell you what I think. That's why I think it's more terrorism. That's because they went for uniforms and like trying to blend in.
Because if they were former military, wouldn't they have some uniforms that they could just,
With
you
these,
know?
they wouldn't go after that. Like,
Sure, good point. Good point. If they were former military, they probably would already have a uniform. I see that.
And I'd like to point out too that there was a man arrested dressed as a fireman today.
Right.
So this is becoming almost like an epidemic. There is people dressing as first responders or the good guys, and they're out to create mayhem or rob people or do bodily harm. And that's something that people in California, like, they deserve to know. That bothers me that this story hasn't gained more traction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also have another theory too.
Let's hear it.
That people who started the fires, which I think are terrorists, to get away from the fires, they needed those Humvees. And they, probably scoped the place out before they started the fires. So yes, 5. Yeah, at least you need 3 guys, right? 3 Humvees, 1 guy drives each. So I'm saying they probably had more than that. Take it,
4.
they get in those Humvees,
We
and
think
they get out of there as the fires go, and everyone's distracted at nighttime.
we were discussing that there's probably at least 4 people, one person to drop the 3 people off who stole the Humvees. At least 3 or at least 4. I mean,
So he thinks there was quite a large group of people,
at least,
which tells us that they're organized, right?
yeah, very
That's why I
organized.
go. That's
So the disgruntled doesn't really work for that scenario because you'd have to have a group of disgruntled people.
True.
And like, we're sort of a group of disgruntled people and we're
Yeah.
a tiny bit organized.
Yeah.
But like, not everybody's down to pull off a heist. So you'd think that, for me, that throws out disgruntled ex-military, because that would be like a one-person deal.
Oh
an
yeah.
inside job too. I don't see like guys that are in the
Oh,
service doing that to their home base. Like, well, where are you going to go with those? How like, where are you going to take
Ducky
them?
wants to know where the Humvees were stolen before. I have that in front of me. They were stolen from the California National Guard in Bell, California, and Army Reserve Center in Upland, California. Both in 2020, and just before 2023, someone stole one in Santa Rosa, and then in Sonoma County. Looks like one was. Maybe that was the same. This was the 4th time. Sorry, so it was those 3 times.
I was talking to Happy Faces about that, and I asked her. We were just talking in general about it, and I said, so they've always been. We were trying to look at the history of stealing Humvees and, the National Guard ever being broken into, and they've always recovered the items and known who the people were.
Right. Yeah, they've recovered all of these. It looks like they recovered all the Humvees that were missing.
How much? 3 U.S. military have to go on black market money?
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
I'd say 30,000-40,000.
Easily used in Mexico, I think. I don't know where else they would put them. I asked him about that. I said, you can't transport it. It would have to be on a flatbed. It wouldn't fit inside of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So but at the same time, you could drive that around there. Nobody would notice. It's not like it has, you could totally you just drive it around. There's all those military vehicles driving around that look exactly the same.
Also, just use it to get out of there and then drop it off, leave it, dump it.
Or strip it.
Bleach bomb it.
Something I notice about like your guys' government officials is they don't link things together. Like, they're not talking about this in their, if they were a little bit more for the people, they would, bring it all together and talk about everything as a whole. But they're not talking about it, and I think that the American people deserve to be informed.
Well, yeah, they're transitioning. They're using
They're
that
involved. They're
excuse.
involved.
Yeah, they're using it as excuse, but during their transition to not have to talk about it. Like we're really busy right now.
They act like they do it for us, but they just keep us in the dark about everything because they're part of the scam.
Oh,
You're breaking up a little, Eric.
I said they're part of the scam.
your mic sounds not good, Eric.
Okay.
Let's see. Get to Ducking Point says,
I have, yeah. Do you want to know how they got caught?
yeah, let's hear it. Yeah,
Is
when
that
the
better?
government doesn't talk about it, it's bad. Yeah,
No?
you're very muffled.
Mhm. We're working on it, folks. It says in the one in Bell, California, evaded capture for 3 days. It doesn't say how they got caught. And then it says the Armor Reserve in Upland saw someone try to steal a Humvee in 2020 before being quickly apprehended just before the 4th of July. Someone stole the one from Santa Rosa, and that was allegedly cited multiple times over the intervening months with people in the greater Bay Area and Sonoma County calling law enforcement about it. And the vehicle was only recovered months later.
Oh wow. So you guys talked for 3 hours. It sounds like you took a shit ton of notes. What sticks out in your notes? Like, what do you want to share with us? There has to be like a bunch of stuff that like I'm not even thinking to ask you, but there has to be like some good juicy stuff that he told you from like an insider perspective.
Yeah, it was a very rabbit holey, I was able to like ask a lot of questions, and I loved the fact that getting that. So he thinks there's a possibility. We were like, what does he think it is, And so it sounds like there was like 2 of us who thinks it was terrorists probably, and then he thinks it's probably maybe thieves or the former. He doesn't think it's an inside job either. But now that you're explaining the disgruntled soldier thing about the uniform, I'm sure they've talked about it. I'd like to discuss more. I would like you to be able to discuss and ask him these questions, because I'm working on 4 plausible things because he has so much information that I assume that he is well skilled at like breaking down to, like this is what's really possible. This is what Occam's razor tells me.
Mm-hmm. And what I'd like to know is like, what is the response from within the National Guard / military when something like this happens? Like, is there a group that will, like attempt to find these items? Do they have, is this something, how like, well, in any workplace, like let's say something goes missing, like I'll just speak from experience in the hospital, right? Like, if scheduled narcotics go missing, that's like an internal investigation. They, they have like a whole group for leakage, and it is something that is investigated, and it's also something that is like noted, and we can usually break down like, okay, pharmacy orders, like there are people that go over it to like with a fine-tooth comb. It doesn't just leak, right? Like we don't just be like, oh, well, our Schedule 2 narcotics are gone, or whatever,
right? Yeah, no
right?
big deal.
So
yeah.
it's something that is definitely taken seriously. I would imagine when like items meant for war go missing, there are people that will track these items down or would be tasked with doing that. Did he mention anything like that?
Be tasked with looking for the items personally?
What is the internal response?
Oh, I would assume MPs are going to be the people that would look for them. Again, I could be wrong. That's just that wasn't one of the questions. See, that's why you should have been there. In all those hours, we didn't get to that.
Okay. All right. I'll let you talk about what you got to then. I just keep on popping
I
up
love
in
it because
my ADD brain.
I love it because I mean, we did talk about all that stuff that wasn't just me asking questions. Like Eric, Eric wasn't there the whole time because he had to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But like the GPS thing was interesting. The other thing too was like, to start the car, there's like a lock on it. There's a lock that you have to like they said that you'd have to cut with bolt cutters in the car also to get it going. So you can't just like start it. There's not keys.
Okay, that was like going to be a question too. Like, could I just jump in? Like, all you had to do is like get through the mesh fence, and then next thing you know, you're driving a Humvee. Like, that seems kind of not even as good as like my vehicle's
Right.
security system.
Right. Yeah, no. It sounded like it's like get in the vehicle. You can get in the vehicle. But you wouldn't be able to start it, or like you would be able to start it, but you'd only be able to drive straight, he said. Because the
What in
steering
the
wheel's
world?
the steering wheel's locked in place. So
You
the
need to know you need to know how to drive it.
Ooh.
it's
Audio,
really
audio.
funny,
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute you for a minute.
Yeah, could be a headphones thing, Eric. Maybe try something with the headphones.
Mm-hmm. He'll
Wow.
figure it out.
Okay, so what's
Go
your take? Like, I mean, I feel like it's terrorism for me personally. Like, I don't see a world where like there's that many disgruntled people, because if there's 3+, and like, and also that would mean that you're staying within the area. Like, I mean, I would imagine military people wouldn't want to like head to Mexico or something. Like, they would be like within the area. And in the past, speaking of Occam's razor, in the past it's always been someone domestic. There hasn't been any time in the past where the cartel has stolen military equipment and taken it away. Am I
Yeah,
correct? Like,
correct.
that's just not something that is historically done. And also, like, we were talking, I think maybe in voice last night, we were saying like it doesn't make a lot of sense because the cartel wouldn't want that type of heat with the military.
Uh-huh.
Why pick that fight? They have those items.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because that's a great point, and also the fact that I could just go buy those at the store here.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Humvee thing was funny too, because you just buy those used also. The military will have those at auctions. So you could just go to an auto auction here and buy a used post-military vehicle.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's
like,
the same thing.
yeah. Well, all the soccer moms are driving Range Rovers now, so they don't want their Humvees anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. They gotta sell. They gotta sell those. That's really funny. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because they weren't like they're like you're not gonna go buy that fabric. There was 4 taken,
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't all. So there was like they weren't all hard top. Now I realize I didn't write down how many were hard top and soft top. I believe he said that 3 of them were soft, like fabric exterior, and I believe there was a funny name for it, like a turtle shell or something, a turtleback, because it's got a camo top on it. Oh no, that wasn't that was one of their other vehicles that they have. That's one of the things they're parked next to them in the parking lot. When I was looking at the map, I thought it was a Humvee, and he's like, no, the Humvee's the smaller vehicle over here. So they could have, if they were like, really malicious, they could have stolen much larger vehicles.
So what about this activating terrorist cells? Like, do we think, because that's what pops up as like obviously the worst case scenario. I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
Like, what would terrorists do with those items? Like, what would make them could they just be sitting on those items, collecting more, possibly trying to blend in as American soldiers and create like strike when people are all evacuated, and what's the scenario? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people in the YouTube community talking about how terrorism cells are being activated right now, and we need to watch out for this, that kind of thing. The inauguration is coming up, right?
Right. There's
So I
that.
feel like tensions are high in, like, I don't live there, so I could be wrong, but do you guys feel like the tensions are high over there? I mean, there's so much
Well,
going on.
yeah, I mean, there's the presidential transition, and I feel like this time it doesn't. When me, this is just me. It doesn't feel as tense as far as that is, but maybe I'm wrong because I don't watch a lot of MSM, right? So I don't. I could be very wrong, but I know like like Trump's been like shot at. I mean, I'd be nervous. I
That's scary. That's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous and it's it's inappropriate and not not whether you like the person or not supposed to shoot at the president. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't justify that in any way. You just know it's just not.
Ooh, Get to Ducking Point has a good question.
Hmm.
Didn't New York's Trump attacker rent an HV?
Yeah, but it was but that thing is
The
the
Tesla Cybertruck?
yeah, no, but she's saying New York's Trump attacker.
Oh,
Was
I
in
don't actually
Vegas.
know that. I'd have to look for that.
What was which was New York's Trump attacker? I
Mm,
only remember the boy the man who shot him from the roof, which was insanity. And then the other, was there another time? Has he been shot at twice? Yeah, somebody in like a golf course, I think.
I think we have Eric in chat now. Eric, do you want to try your audio again? Because we'd hate to lose you.
Yeah. It is high alert time in this country, says Eric. And yeah. Because of that, because of
Oh,
drones.
New Year's Day attacker. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking
Yeah.
Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Yes, and those were rented. That was rented. So was the truck that was used in New Orleans, also rented. I mean,
Uh-huh.
clearly using large vehicles they are weapons in and of themselves, because if you're deciding to use them to drive through large crowds of people, that's a
Mm-hmm.
weapon, right?
Right. Right, because I was scared. I don't know how this works. I was like, can you put the tripod with a machine gun on the back of that vehicle and drive it into a crowd?
My God.
And
It's crazy we're even
that's where my
thinking
brain went,
that.
but he said no.
Right. Las Vegas.
Yes, in front of the Trump Tower. I got it. Yeah, that was a Cybertruck,
Mhm.
but it was not a Humvee, but it was still a Cybertruck. It was still a rented vehicle, right?
Eric,
It wasn't.
Eric, can you try and talk to us real fast? We'll see if your audio has been corrected.
You hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's clear?
No.
Nope.
It's not clear.
Still not good.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're throwing you into chat then.
All right. Eric's our chatter today. But
yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, even just to think of Humvees, like think about the truck, all the damage a F-150 did, and then you've got the opportunity to have, a Humvee doing the same type of thing. I mean, it seems to me like Americans are really being shown how this was a point that Get to Ducking Point said a little bit earlier. Why is the security so lax? It seems like, the between the New Year's Day attack on Bourbon Street and then a military base being robbed, part of terrorism is to scare people.
It's not a military base.
Okay, what was it again? It's
an Army Reserve Center.
Army Reserve
If
Center.
you looked
Okay.
at it, when I looked
Like a
at it
storage facility.
when you look at it on a map, it's 4 buildings, and it's basically it looks like there's an administrative building. There's probably you probably go there to sign up for Army at some point. There's probably an office there, and then there's warehouses. It looks like a huge warehouse. So there's only 3 buildings and like two parking lots. One looks like it's used for maintenance, and the other one is for people going in the main building. So it's not huge. It's not a military base. That's what I thought. I thought, how did these people get past the gate at the military base? So the gate is 2 swinging gates that you need a code for. At night, it's locked with another chain lock. It's locked with another lock, and it looks like it's just open all day long. and you just go in. So you can just go in there. You and I don't just go in there because we don't know what's in there. It's not our business. I don't know how that works, but you don't. Apparently, you can just go in there, but you can't. You're not going to take things that are not supposed to be taken. There should be people on staff. There are cameras there. They did. I mean, they weren't known to be on the premises when they stole things. But those vehicles look like they're outside. They're not like they don't look like they're in the warehouse. There's a parking lot outside with all the vehicles, and I don't think the warehouse, I'm sure it's big enough to like work on the vehicles, maybe.
Right.
But it didn't look like that's where they're stored, so they probably stole them out of the parking lot, which again,
Q says a very good point, and I was thinking the same thing. Is like even more so inside info. How would the thieves know where the Humvees would be? I mean, yeah, I mean, he could put me in the building, but I'd be wandering around for a while trying to figure out where everything was that I wanted. I mean, that does go more to an inside job.
This is good. You can see the whole inside from the outside. It's just got a chain link fence around it, around like a couple city blocks, and you can just look right in there. And you could go up. I could pull up the street view from like a year ago. I'm sure and it sounded in our conversation, it sounded to me like it wouldn't be much different. It's a center where like people would only be there for they're 2 days a year or whatever, or a month, whatever for the reserve. They wouldn't only the military reserve would only be the guard and all that stuff. They would only be there 2 days a month. And there's so many units that go in and out of there. So they're only 2 days at a time, a big group of people, taking classes or doing whatever it is that they need to be working on from there.
Okay.
So there's not always people in the building, but there's also a huge transition of people through there, right? And not always. So somebody could easily have left something out. That was one of the conversations we had. Somebody could have been like, accidentally leave bolt cutters out, or accidentally leave something of like accessible.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, I think that's part of the issue for me is hearing how open these items are, like when it comes from all the way back to New Year's Day, like how easy it is just to access that Bourbon Street and just, I also saw like the IEDs being placed and like nobody did anything about that. Like it was in a cooler, like we're starting to see holes in so many things that we just took for granted were, so secure. Well, including like the president's security and that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely needs to, he probably hires his own bodyguards also on top of it. It's pretty scary. I was wondering why he doesn't get a Pope mobile. Like he should just be in like a full glass thing that's bulletproof for people if people are going to shoot at the guy. Like that's just insanity.
I hate to say it, but especially him.
Yeah, because it's happened more than once. It's like, come on, let's be smart about it. People are overly upset, in my opinion, about a lot of things, and maybe just take more precautions. You're our president.
Well, he's pledged to make some pretty major moves on some pretty major characters. I mean, even within Canada, right? He's pissed off Canada, but Canada's not going to assassinate him. But like, he's very sort of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And what, even if the worst did happen and there were, something was done to the president. I mean, JD Vance, the whole administration is all pretty lockstep. So I really think, that's so scary to think about, but I don't think it would change anything.
You know what I think it is? I don't even think it has anything to do with that. I think it's Diddy.
Okay, well, let's transition to that conversation.
Yeah.
Eric, do you want to try your audio again?
We want to talk to you, Eric. There's no concern by the mayor or governor because.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Any
it's
be-
so
Is
bad.
it better?
No,
Bad?
no. Yeah,
Darn.
I wouldn't mind if everybody takes care of business there, Eric. Good point. This is Eric said there's no concern by the mayor or governor because it is petty to them with the fire, even though it could be part of the bigger plan, in my opinion.
So to your point about Diddy, I
Uh-huh.
was doing my usual scope around TikTok, and I came across Whitney Cummings, who, if you guys don't know her, she's kind of like a B, C,
We
D
love her.
rated, like comic. But
She had
she
a
was
TV
just,
show called Whitney.
oh, did she? Okay, well, I don't really follow her, but apparently I follow her because
Yeah.
she popped up for me in TikTok, and she was saying that her friends have seen fires being started. She said that also the belief is that people are making kind of a circle around Los Angeles in general,
Uh-huh.
and what they're after is the tunnels underneath Diddy's, like underneath Los Angeles, basically, that were also referenced in like the Diddy Playboy Mansion, all those kind of lore type things. What do you
Yeah.
think of that?
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard that about the tunnels?
I have, and it sounded like today that Diddy's house may be burned down, and also that would be the assumption that the tunnels would actually be gone as well. And I did see a comment on one of the videos that I passed through about an interview with someone, and they said something about seeing smoke, a house smoking from the inside that didn't look like it was hot from the outside, which would be, burning underground.
Wow.
So why not? Why not know that you're about to get like completely taken down, you and Jay-Z, who are like top dogs of the industry? That's a four-pronged, thing right now with at least the entire Carter family.
Yeah, I mean it's very and Allie Carter, who people have strong opinions about her information, um, and I think it's very interesting that she warned about fires that weren't fires. Don't be distracted. I mean, we've been hearing this stuff, and then next thing you know, we're experiencing these fires that are unlike anything. They're only at, we looked before we went live, and I think the new number is at 18% contained, 16 to 18%
Okay.
contained.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't coming to an end anytime soon.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's almost like not contained when we put it that way, right? That was 13% for Palisades, 27% for Eaton, and then the other one was what was the other one? Like 89%. The other Hearst fire is 89% contained. So that's good.
Right.
That's good. It covered 799 acres so far, so it's the smallest one. If you looked at the map, it looks tiny compared to the other ones, and that's still almost 800 acres at least.
Yeah, it is.
Which is
It's something
wild.
else. Yeah, it's
The,
something else for
the
sure.
Eden fire one though, like that being the 27% contained, yeah, that's pretty good too. But 13% contained, yeah, were we talking about that earlier? And it was what, 11 per air? It was 11 per, yeah,
Oh, that's
perfect, Eric.
better.
Yay.
I'm gonna
Okay.
mute myself real fast, guys. I have to take a phone call, but I'll
Okay.
be right back.
Okay. Well, Eric, we were just talking about, could you hear us? We were talking about the containment so far. It's crazy. It's crazy, right?
Oh, the containment? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not, but for the fact that like what's been burned, that's why I get, I'd almost say tinfoil hattie, but Diddy is in prison. It's not, you know what I mean? If the guy wasn't in prison getting completely denied bail at every turn, I would be like, oh, maybe he's innocent. I would like wait till he goes to court. But it doesn't sound like he's innocent. It sounds like a lot of people are going to be in a lot of trouble. So why not destroy Hollywood, I guess you say, and build it back up?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a chance. I mean, half these people are out in New York.
Well, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, the Jay-Z's or Diddy's house was the big deal, right? And the tunnels and all those things. Even though I say that, I gotta assume all that searching has been done already. The FBI,
Yeah. There's nothing left.
there's tunnels; they've already got that taken care of. Even though I don't know how that works as far as if you've got a search warrant and you're in a tunnel and it leads to somebody else's property, do you need to have a search warrant for the next property, for the next homeowner?
They did that in March and they didn't get arrested until June. So I think they got everything they needed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They definitely have everything they needed, but I'm wondering, like, what other evidence is there? It's like burn the pizza. Did he say that? Is that phone call that we heard on what was
Pizza
it?
boxes.
Jumpsuit Pablo. Did he say burn the pizza boxes?
That was I think that was bad information. I don't think that
No,
was,
yeah, I don't think it was real, but it was definitely before this fire. But is that what he said? Was he, or did he just say get rid of the pizza boxes, or what did he say? How did he say get rid of them? Do we know? Do we remember?
Can't recall.
Okay.
I don't think he's that smart enough to like figure out the Santa Ana winds and where he started the fire. I don't think he's got.
You don't think Jay-Z's that smart though? See,
No,
I'm
no,
wondering.
I don't. I don't think Jay-Z's that smart at all.
The thing is I don't think it's either of them. What else is in that? Who else is? They're not the top dogs. We get rid of
They
them.
can make music. I don't think they're smart. Music is their thing.
Yeah, but they're not the top dog. I'm saying somebody else top dog. They don't want to get caught. They get rid of all the evidence at that level. Those guys go to prison and they are out. There's no more evidence left to get caught. Their tunnel doesn't lead to somebody else's house, whatever. Nobody else has been arrested.
I think we have to watch out for Jay-Z probably the most of those. I mean, one would assume people are like, oh, well, the evidence at Diddy's house. First of all, the feds have the evidence that they need. Like, they've taken it out of the house. If it was still in the house, it could have been destroyed in numerous ways before fires. Like,
yeah, but
kids.
You know he has more than one house.
Oh yeah, I mean his Miami house, in my opinion, is his home. Like he was always in Miami. That was his like most well-known home, Miami, right?
Okay.
And that's why they did the raid all at one time of all his homes, and including his plane, was because they know that he has been interfering with witnesses, tampering with evidence, anything he could possibly do. So in my opinion, they already have the main evidence that they're going to need. Now, it is suspect to me when things start being destroyed, because they may have all the evidence they need for Diddy, but they may not have all the evidence they need for everybody else.
Right.
And that's the consuming thing, in my opinion, is because we heard Hollywood was going down. We heard that there'd be more celebrities, more to come. And now all of a sudden, like, even the tunnels are being destroyed. I'd like to know, how do we confirm these tunnels? Because it seems to be that everybody who lives there knows about them.
I bet we could find them on YouTube. I bet somebody has some video of them someplace. I don't think they're not real. I don't even question them. I don't even question that they could possibly not be there. We've heard that for years about the Playboy Mansion, and then they say it's like right by Diddy's house. So I just assume, yes. Get to Ducking Point says, a lot of Hollywood mansions and estates had underground tunnels.
Well, and it's logistically something that makes good sense, because they would often talk about how celebrities would pop up out of nowhere to go to the Golden Globes, or to pop up out of nowhere to go to the Oscars. You don't see them in traffic, right? They're coming in through the tunnels. And so that could be a good cover of why they need them. Same with, transporting people like Kamala and Trump, and people that they're are big security risks. They're gonna do it through the tunnels. It's like the palaces, like the royal palaces all have back channels, and Disney's the same. like the back channels in order for like the principal people, they call them the principals, to just pop up rather than having to like walk from A to B.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And there's all sorts of stuff now that you say it. Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, so tunnels under LA where, it's literally where all the famous people and celebrities and all these
I would guess they were
celebrity,
built.
yeah.
I'm guessing they're for prohibition. This is what I'm guessing. I'm just gonna take a wild guess that has something to do with prohibition.
Well,
I'm
under my
sure.
school, where I work, there's
What was it?
under the school I work in,
Uh-huh.
I can walk from one end underground all the way under the whole school underground.
How much is
Not
built there? Is it just a tunnel, or is there more
no,
rooms?
it's open space. Some areas are like tunnels, but it's open,
Like a huge space?
like huge, like half a mile.
Open? Like you could yell
Yeah,
from
yeah.
one side to the other?
Well, yeah, if you know, you got to walk through it though. I mean, there's cuts and turns in little areas, but a lot of it is open.
Wow. All right. That sounds
Just
interesting.
just saying, that's the closest thing I see it there, so I can only imagine what it is in fancier places. You know what I mean?
Well, have you ever worked in a hotel, like in a really nice hotel?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And all the back areas, like where
that's
you're
cool.
kind of scurrying around making things happen, and then you pop up in like the banquet hall.
Yeah,
Like in a play, like in a movie, like being in the theater, and you like
Yeah.
there's holes in the floor or like a curtain that moves.
Yeah, so why would they not have tunnels to move celebrities from A to B? And then if we want to be conspiratorial, we would say, well, and then if said celebrities wanted to do shitty things behind the scenes, why would they not have their little seances or whatever they're doing in these tunnels slash underground cities? That could be, let's get rid of the evidence. If that comes out, that ruins everything for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I was just seeing Get to Ducking says my great uncle was a bootlegger with Meyer Lansky.
Ooh.
Before during Prohibition.
Badass.
Yeah.
We knew you were badass, but now you come from a long line of them. That's awesome.
I think Diddy's gonna rat them all out eventually.
Who is?
Diddy.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna trade so he gets out. Not totally get out, but gets a lesser sentence.
Yeah. You think he gets a lesser sentence because he's gonna just turn on everybody?
It's the only way he's gonna get it.
Well, and he's got to turn on somebody bigger than him, right?
I don't know. Just who knows what kind of deal they make. Like,
well, I mean, they don't want 10 people lower than him. They want the one person bigger than him.
If he could turn in an ex-president or something, you never know.
I think they're setting him up to get rid of him. Why? Because the most recent messaging that's coming out on the Diddy case is that he's losing it. He's having breakdowns. He is like finally coming to terms with that he's not getting out on bail. So he's asking to go to the hospital. He's having mental like flail outs. So they're building a narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could be true that he's having those breakdowns, but the fact that it's getting out to us, kind of curious.
It actually has a call. What do you think, Eric?
I don't think he has the balls to kill him himself. Someone else might kill him, but I don't think he'll kill himself.
Like you don't think he is gonna Epstein?
No, I think he thinks he's gonna get out, or he has so much shit that he knows that he could, when push comes to shove, he'll rat out and think he's gonna get out that way. That's what I think.
You think he's an underground weasel? What he's just actually a weasel?
And I also think he lives like a king where he is, and all this other shit is just bullshit that he fakes to try so people feel sympathy for him too.
I think that only way for somebody like him to hold any, and it's why Epstein thing would be possible of suicide would be to save face of not having to actually admit that you did anything, not actually have to account for anything you've ever done.
Yeah, so, I think he really thought he was getting out on bail, and I think he had a plan for when he got out on bail, he was going to flee. And now that's not an option. I think that it might be being set up to, have a breakdown slash, hunger. Like we've gotten hunger strike, we've gotten breakdown, we've gotten all these things. But yeah, I mean, it's something to be aware of for sure.
Yeah.
I think in order to do what he did, he has no conscience. I don't think he ought to break down. I think he thinks he's above it
Yeah.
all. I think he has no conscience to do what he did to people.
Yeah. 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 No. Yeah. I couldn't agree more on that one. Jeez. Yeah, I was surprised. What are some of the things that we talked when I talked to our specialist today, our expert? Some of the things that I thought were really interesting that we talked about were that I asked weird questions about that I thought because people had asked in other like communities of wanting to know why the guard wasn't there yet and stuff like that, and he explained to me that there's a difference between the National Guard and the Army Reserve. And so you have like the one. Let me pull up the actual things so I can start talking about it. I don't know what I'm talking about. Watch for those fires. Explosions. That's not it. I will find it. But it's an actual like, so they just had to be like the governor or whatever puts them initiates them initially. So that's all it is. They have to just like call it in.
Did you know they actually have inmates fighting these fires?
Yeah,
What?
I saw that. That kind of took me aback, but apparently that they voted on that. Yeah.
Oh, I found it. It was the National Guard reports to both the state and federal, while the reserves only report to the federal government. So the National Guard was there through the state quickly because they're there. And that was when people were wondering how they got there. That's how they get called there by the governor, not the president or whatever. It doesn't have to be a state of emergency for the whole country. Just California. Or
Now,
did
have
you
you
ask
guys
this
heard that
frozen?
the wife of Matthew Livensberg has spoken out? This is kind of more breaking news of today, but that would be the bomber. Just to
Oh
back
yeah,
up,
yeah.
yeah, that his wife has spoken out.
Okay, tell us
hmm
more.
I haven't actually watched it, but I have it in my. Um, I think it's interesting because I want to keep that kind of forefront, especially because the FBI has confirmed the Sean Ryan information. And I know that we've been kind of keeping tabs on that. I think it is very brave when people are whistleblowers, and I would hate for him to be a whistleblower. And now we get distracted on forest fires and fires and back to, things we were talking about before because we are in such a crazy news cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like for us to stay on top of the Tesla bombing story because he was trying to be a whistleblower. He truly was he was an American service member, and I think that all these things are connected.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
apparently his wife spoke out today. We'll get that info and we'll get it out to you guys for
Did
sure.
she is she on YouTube? Is there like a she spoke out or is it a
Yeah. Yeah,
There's a
there's a
girlfriend
video.
that spoke out too, I think.
Yeah, we saw that one.
Yeah, okay.
We watched that one, but I don't think that I've seen this other one. You should send it
Didn't
to
either.
me.
I definitely didn't even see it. No,
There you
it's
go. That's why you
interesting.
guys have me.
That's right.
Yay!
Well, we'll look into it. Well, if it's something that we need to talk about, we'll definitely talk to everybody about it because I
Yeah.
think these whistleblowers are coming out and they're being brave. The FBI has confirmed that they exist, and I think that we owe it to the whistleblowers to put their information out there, even if we are a small channel. It's like still doing something, right?
Yeah. Yes. And we're not gonna, I mean, we it's gonna come up more. It's not just it happened and it's over.
hmm I mean, that
There's
one was very planned. Like, he really
Mhm.
wanted to make a smash, and he was trying to get his info out, like, any way possible with so many different, like, ways of reaching out to people. And he did have a plan to go to Mexico. And, so I just like to stay on top of that and just monitor that situation as well. Because, again, I mean, the drones, is a top story for me. I'm not going to let that go. I think
They're still
you know,
here.
they're still there. People are still recording them. I think it's crazy that now I don't agree with the terms and services of TikTok, but I am concerned with you guys losing TikTok because that is where people can literally take a video, upload it. It's their own channel. You know, there's nothing needed. It's the easiest thing on the planet. And like it's where a lot of people's information gets out organically first.
Sure. You feed it to the machine. Just like what your likes, what you have in your images, all the things are right there in front of, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really easy way for people to get their info out. So, I mean, for you guys to be losing access to TikTok, that's not going to be great, but
I don't
maybe
think
that can
that's
be
going to
saved.
happen. I don't think
Somebody
that's
will find a jailbreak.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible. I think there's gonna be like a last minute whatever. We're not gonna. I think it's
Well,
ridiculous. I don't think Trump wants them. I
Trump
don't believe
talked about it.
he wants
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
He doesn't want to get rid of it. I think he doesn't want to get rid of it. He knows it's a good marketing tool. I think he realizes as a
Yes.
marketing person. He
Well,
knows
Barron helped him with TikTok apparently, and he said that he really benefited from TikTok this election cycle, so he could see the benefits, and he was going to look into keeping it. Now, today is the 13th. The ban is on the 19th, so let's hope that happens sooner rather than later. But that's where I see all the drone videos, just to recircle back around to what I was talking about, like
there's
organically.
yes. If America's the only place that banned TikTok, and I have there's full bans in Afghanistan, India, Iran.
Yeah, but you guys love crazy apps. You guys have all the crazy apps.
Right, but there's like partial bans in really. There's a partial ban in Canada.
Well,
Somebody's not getting money off it. That's what happens here. If somebody here isn't getting money off it, they want to ban it. That's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of countries. There are quite
what
a
date
few
is the
countries.
inauguration? Is the inauguration the 20th, you guys?
20th.
The 20th.
Yep.
Get to Ducking Point. Would you want us to stream it live if we could? Something Eric and I have talked about. Sophie's so like she could take it or leave it.
Yeah,
I'm off that day.
It's gonna happen.
I got no work that day.
Yeah, I just would hate for there to be like crazy news and then us totally miss it. It'd be sort of fun to.
I mean, that's a good point.
To watch it as a family.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Especially if drones start shooting everybody.
Yeah. We could stream it if you guys want to.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but we'll figure it out.
We have a lot of people who are pretty passionate about it as our friend group. I know it's too late for them tonight, but the inauguration will be at a regular time, so they'll probably be watching it regardless.
Will you be up? Get to Ducking Point?
I got one thing I wanted to say. For the next show, I'm going to talk about that kidnapping that's right close to my house. A 14-year-old girl. It's a possible trafficking. I'm just putting it together a little thing on that to let people know, just because it's so close to my house. And the girl was missing for 26 days, and they found her. She was alive too, so which makes like they were trafficking her because she was kept alive and drugged up. And it's a long story, but I'll get into it the next show.
Yeah, what a scary story. That's like something out of a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, 100%. Right? Yeah, that's terrifying.
And something we can look forward to in the future too with Eric is he is proximity-wise super close to the Long Island serial killer. So when that starts kicking in and that becomes something that is forefront on the news, which is hard to even imagine right now because there's so many like huge disasters and like world news going on, but that will become a huge topic. Eric will be right there. So that's something super exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
True crime wise.
Yeah. It's very exciting. When Eric, do we even know when is hearings? When is the next hearing?
I don't know. I gotta look that up.
Yeah, we should be more on top of that since you are right there.
Yeah, then we'll have Sophie boots on the ground in Idaho. We'll have Eric boots on the ground in Long Island.
We'll have Ashley trying on boots in Canada because nothing.
Yeah, I'll be trying on boots. Exactly. I'm doing my regular thing.
Yeah, nothing bad happening there. You're fine. I
could even go to the Diddy trial. It's only an hour away.
Yeah.
You could stand outside.
I wonder how long that line is. Yeah, no kidding. I wonder
Yeah.
about press passes. Do we need press passing? Is that a thing? I don't
You know
know.
what we need? We need a friend from Boston. Oh, and you know what's another exciting thing? I think I can say this because it's not a big deal. It is a big deal to us, but it's not scary like or like a huge like secret type of thing. We will probably be bringing up Dolphin to come talk with us, who's been
Yeah.
awesome in our chat, and she wants to do some Karen Reed stuff and discuss the dog bite expert. She is a busy gal, but we're gonna make it work, and she's gonna come up and talk to us about her takes.
Yeah.
She is awesome. She's a fountain of knowledge at all times.
Yeah.
And we will
Yeah.
be all in on the Karen Reed second trial.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. That one's going to be exciting.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a palate cleanser now, like to watch true crime, given that we've been so stuck on wildfires. Like I've watched so many hours of wildfires, you guys. I didn't know I could be this interested, but it just feels so historical and I
Yeah, it
can't look
is.
away.
It is. It is historical. It
Yeah,
is.
it's a phenomenon. Look at anything like this.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
free Karen Reed. No kidding. No kidding. This shouldn't even come to this. They acquitted her on the main charge. I think the jury was, they tried their hardest to reach out and tell that story. And the fact that she's being recharged with it so un-American.
It's so ridiculous too. There's definitely no evidence, not enough evidence
It's
whatsoever. We
actually
gotta
so
watch.
American.
There's no evidence that she did anything wrong. I don't believe she did anything wrong, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous the cover up there. The cover, it's a real like
It's
obvious.
corrupt cops. That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah. We watched the whole trial. It's like the saddest thing I've ever seen. Watching these cops trying to justify doing corrupt things. Like, I just threw it in the dumpster.
Well,
Really?
and Brennan now is stating that they have Chloe, the dog in question, and that
Oh.
they have Chloe's like bite impressions,
Uh-huh.
and they're doing another meeting with the dog bite expert, and they're going to be going over more of her testimony. So I think that's a snapshot of just how important that testimony is going to be, because this voir dire has gone on longer than anything. It's almost
Uh-huh.
like, I mean, it's been like 3 days straight pretty much already.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Brennan is hammering her.
I love her to
she's
death.
good though. She fights back.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love her. I absolutely adore her.
Yeah.
I would like have her run Canada if that was a possibility. Like
Her
out with
next position.
Trudeau, in with the dog bite expert. I don't care if she's a politician or not a politician or what her views are. She's like so smart and so capable and so hilarious in her own way. I
Uh-huh.
just would love to see what she could do just
Oh
with
yeah.
anything, let alone her area of expertise.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
mind-bending.
what's her name? Douglas? Is that it?
Is that it? I know. We should have known her name already. Do you know her name? Get to ducking point. I'll look it up.
Dr. Russell? Or no,
Russell.
not
That's
Dr.
it. Yeah, Russell. That's it. Russell.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
She's great. She's so capable. She is just like androgynous and amazing. And she just holds her ground, stands her ground, continues to repeat herself, doesn't get frustrated. I would have lost my shit. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's just another thing that we've been following. But we really wanted to come on and give this update and talk about, the interview you guys had today was just so neat. I'm so glad that you got to have that. Is there like anything more that you want to talk about? Eric wasn't able to talk, but did you take notes today as well, Eric?
Well, I was only there for a half hour, so
Okay, but you
yeah,
took
like
some
so.
notes.
No, he answered a couple of questions I had that I went over already. So like I didn't hear a lot of stuff. Like I literally was there for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So they answered my questions first because they knew I was leaving.
Okay.
And I just wanted the layout of the. And like he told me it was a warehouse and the layout. Like I thought there were people there. There weren't people there. So that's a lot of questions I had. I asked about the GPS. That's about all I got in.
Yeah, Eric wasn't there with us very long.
Right. And you had some other people from our chat were there. I think Rach was there.
Rach was there. Rach asked about the GPS, which was the stuff we kind of talked about too with Eric.
Okay.
So we got that information. I was just looking. There was a.
Does Rach think it was terror cells? Because Rach kind of goes there.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear that. I
Yeah,
didn't.
she agreed with me.
Okay.
Yeah. She does think it's terror cells, Eric. Is that what you think too?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's a small part of a big picture.
That's where my mind goes too. I hate to say it, but I instantly go to the worst case scenario at this point. And then if it turns out just to be something minor, then it's like, okay, that's a good surprise.
I think it's really bad actors and some opportunists.
Those fires are totally out of season.
What do you guys make of all these people? I mean, I posted it in my community page, but all the people being arrested for arson, like, who are these people? Where do they come from? Are they organized, or are they just random people that want to see Hollywood burn?
Opportunists.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think they're opportunists. I think that's why, like, how are we going to organize? Is it a cult? How are we going to organize a couple 50-year-old ladies and some like 20-something-year-old Hispanic guy? Like the 3 photos I've seen of people getting arrested, all don't they don't correlate in people that they meet bump into each other at the grocery store or something like.
But where are they all getting the same idea? Like,
Right.
what is the motive? That's my question.
It's because it's a fire. What if you're homeless? You got nowhere to go. Everything's burnt down. Jail's a better place.
Get to Ducking Point wants to know: are they being paid? Are they paid bad actors? Or
Right.
independent? See, I wonder that also, because did we not see that during the BLM riots where people were like
100%.
pallets of rocks or bricks being put out, and they had no business being there, and then people were inciting violence. This is giving inciting violence. This is giving like throwaway people that. Not throwaway people, but people who might have taken a payoff in order to accomplish a larger goal.
Right. Or like, you don't own a home. What if you do own a home? What if you don't, what if you want insurance money, or like there's something involved here? What if you getting rid of your stuff that doesn't look like it's going to burn, but everything else around you is burning and looks, looks good to you, or something crazy like that? I don't know.
Or what if it's super brilliant that all these people look like they're economically or they're demographically different, but actually they're all part of organization, or paid actors.
Or just paid bad actors. You could give exactly get you ducking. I was just gonna say that you give homeless person $50 to do dirty work. Yeah, exactly. Totally. You could be like, here's the matches. Here's the thing that you need to burn. And here's a sandwich or some shit.
You got 45,000 acres. If somebody tells me to burn something, I ain't fucking burning it. What if 45,000 acres are on fire, though?
Yeah, but do you think the mental capacity of a homeless person is always full? Because there's got to be plenty.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Just in Canada. In Canada, all the homeless are totally sane. But in America, the majority of homeless people are not sane, and that's the actual reason.
I'd like to go on record by saying that we have like some of the most insane homeless in my province, period. If you look up Maine and Hastings in Vancouver, we are famous for our homeless people.
Yep, it's true. Pacific Northwest loves the homeless. It's good weather.
Well, if I was homeless, then I would want to go to jail, like if everything was burning around me.
But what if the jail's burning? Where's the jail? The cops aren't looking for people, though. Those people have all been like citizen arrested, right?
No, I'm saying these people who are burning stuff, if they're homeless, maybe they want to go to jail. That's why they did it, to get caught.
Right. Like if that's comparable, they're like, I'll take $50, and if I get in trouble, I'll have a place to live.
A better life.
Yeah, and food.
And drugs.
And drugs, and plenty of drugs. Yeah, from what we've seen. Yeah, probably a good deal of drugs, and maybe some toilet booze. I watch a lot of prison shows.
Clean air.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. This is wild. It's so many things at once. It's so many things within. What day are we at? I mean, I don't even know what day we're at. We're at day 11. We're at day 12. Are we at day 13 yet? We're at day 13, I think.
But again, there's always the scumbag theory. Some people are just scumbags.
Right, right. Yeah, that's why when we were going over it and we were like, we have 4 possibilities. I love that I'm pretty sure at least one of these possibilities that I came up with is for sure the thing. Like I'll come up with all sorts of tinfoil hatty side ideas of what it could possibly be when we could write a screenplay. Get to Ducking Point makes that point. But I feel like there one of these has got to be the right answer. Terrorists just makes a lot of sense right now, and like unleashing that. But terrorists could also be paying those people. What is that connection? That's the weird part. What is the connection, and why have I seen at least two people with white hair who should not be in the mindset of setting fire to their community?
Yeah, that lady really shocked me. Her
Uh-huh.
that look. She's got the crazy eyes though, so she kind of
Uh-huh.
does meet the criteria in my mind, but like
Uh-huh.
I just can't imagine, you know, like all these firefighters are out there fighting fires, and then you've got a few people lighting fires in drains. Like, so the drains that Whitney Cummings was talking about would actually go underground.
Yeah. See, there's the tunnel situation. That was one of
That's
the things that made me think of the tunnels. Like, do we burn down underneath? Because she said somebody was pouring gasoline down there, right?
yes. So I'll get that video and we can probably post it to our shorts just
Yeah.
so everybody can see.
Yeah.
But I think that it's interesting coming from celebrities because, like, it's one thing for us to have our tinfoil hats on because we don't really, you know, have a reputation to uphold.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like famous people saying they're seeing this, that they are hearing this, they believe this, and these are the people that were, you know, very much establishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pay a little bit of attention to that. Like Bethany Frankel's saying the same thing. They're mainstream people, you know?
Yeah.
Or you do it to them to get them on board of what's going on. It's like
What about the plan for LA where they had like a plan to have the whole city like electric or something set up like
Yeah.
that, like some sort of dynamic plan to be done in the next 3 years or 5 years. I saw 2 different dates there. The
The
20.
15-minute cities.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
wouldn't that be easy to do if we just erased the first city in, a couple weeks, which would take normally like, years and years and years to disintegrate, to get rid of, to buy all that cheap burned down property land and rebuild this and have it built by 2028 like they projected.
I mean, that's
interesting.
where we're heading, right? We're heading
Right.
into this sort of really fast. We're really heading into this sort of age of the robot age or whatever they're calling it, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. AI everything, right?
So
Did you
Get to
see?
Ducking Point had
Yeah.
said that she would like the inauguration on here because she could chat with us.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm into
That'd be
that. I
fun.
mean, I'll be into the not being there, but I will totally check in. I'll check in with you guys. I think it might be a long process,
I'll
but
be here. I got the day off.
There
oh,
you go.
there it works perfectly.
It's Martin
Yeah,
Luther
what
King
do you think
Day.
of who benefits? Get to Ducking Point. Me ask that question too. Who benefits? Which is always the right question to ask,
That's
right?
the
When something
right
like this happens,
question. Follow the money. Yep.
right? So, who benefits in Los Angeles at this point?
Well, they were underground in a lot of debt, and Biden is paying off all their debt in this process. So that's a very surface level answer.
But a huge one, because how much could their debt could be? Millions of
Mm-hmm.
dollars, right?
Is there anyone that wants the land? Because do you really think these multi-millionaires are coming back and saying, okay, like, let's clean this up. I'm building a new super mansion. Nothing to see here. Like, no, it's not the same area. Like, it's burnt to a crisp. It looks like Gaza.
Yeah, it looks bad. It definitely looks like apocalypse.
Well, that's what people do here. When you want to get rid of your business, you burn it down.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a
Should you
neighbor who
just-
did that with his vehicle.
Yeah.
Did he get away with it?
I think so. I was like, what? A brand new SUV, and
Oh.
then he had some sort of trouble, and then next thing you know, it was burnt, and he hadn't. Anyways, that's a side mission there, but I mean, it is insurance fraud is major,
Yeah.
but insurance
True.
fraud of a whole state.
I know guys
I mean,
that did it to a
California is a
restaurant.
jewel.
What was that, Eric?
I know guys that did it to a restaurant.
Yeah, restaurants are notorious for that.
Uh-huh.
Restaurants and bars, it's always a grease fire.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Real easy. Yeah. We had a very nice restaurant here that burned down. It was very nice. It was probably the best fancy, neat restaurant in town. Luckily it wasn't downtown, but it totally burned down. But they rebuilt, from insurance money.
Mm-hmm. Well, and actually getting the insurance is going to be really difficult, apparently, because yes, some insurance companies pulled out, but also because, and JLR's girlfriend was explaining this really, really well, is a lot of mortgage companies won't give you mortgages if you don't have replacement insurance.
What's replacement insurance?
Yeah, good question. So replacement insurance is like, not only are you covered for your home, but you're covered to the amount that you could replace it. Like you could get the same home rebuilt. Right?
Okay.
And most of those mansions don't have replacement insurance because of their price.
I got you. It's the way to skim on paying your insurance. You pay a little bit less and hope it doesn't burn down.
Correct. Yeah. So you have a $35 million mansion stocked with like Birkins and Ferraris. What's the replacement on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounds like I'm like making fun, but like literally that's where they would have those.
Oh yeah. No, totally. You're not making fun. That's the actual place.
Yeah, it's so pricey, and a lot of people don't have it, and a lot of places don't offer it in California.
Yeah, understandably, because their price is not going down anytime soon for lumber compared to what it was. The house is already built. Those houses weren't built last year.
Right. I mean, how do you replace the Playboy Mansion, right? Like, because it was built in like the 20s, right?
You don't. Yeah.
Yeah. You couldn't replace it. You'd have to, a lot of the things are priceless or would be considered priceless objects.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because lumber's through the roof. Lumber's as high as it's ever been.
Yeah. So exactly as I'm saying, and it's gonna not get cheaper now that they have to rebuild whatever amount of things that they won't rebuild. Where they've lost tens of thousands of buildings, I'm assuming at this point.
And there are some places that did have replacement insurance, and there will be so many insurance companies that are going to have to recoup their money because insurance is for profit, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be surges in everyone's insurance because of this. This is going to be massive for you guys.
Yeah,
They said the insurance is gonna go up by me because of this.
Yeah, it's gonna go up everywhere. They're gonna spread it out.
Yeah.
It already went up when the Hawaii thing happened.
That's bullshit.
And one of the tips that they were giving is don't accept the first offer because it is an offer on your insurance. But a lot of people don't know that.
Oh, okay. Like you can say no, I want more. It's not enough.
Yeah, you have to prove that you need more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. This government pisses me off. Seriously, it really does. When I start talking about shit like this, it fucking hurts me.
Just as you're getting the price of eggs down, next thing you know, the price of insurance like goes through the roof.
No, they just raise your insurance when they want to, like car insurance.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get the bill after 6 months, it goes up like $80. Like what the fuck?
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's outrageous how much that they've raised in the last couple of years.
See, we don't have that here.
How car
No.
insurance?
It's fixed. No, it's fixed. Like it's done by the government.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. How much is it?
Oh, well, there's variables, of course, but
Okay.
So
Yeah,
if
but
you have it,
is it always the same forever?
there's a point system on your license.
okay.
You know, it's very different, but they can't just raise the rates, so that's different.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah, we still call them scammers, but it's a lot different than your guys' system.
And the best part is if you put in a claim, they drop you.
They do?
Yeah.
The house market or the homeowners insurance
No,
or
the
any?
car, no, auto insurance. Like I totaled the car, a brand new car. I totaled, and they dropped me from the insurance. I had to go to a different company on the
Well,
new
see,
car.
that's the problem. That's the problem that they're talking about now, and like that was the issue with the whole fire insurance too.
Could you get insurance someplace else there?
Yeah, I got insurance someplace else. But the point is, like, I paid insurance for 20 years. The 21st year, I have an accident, and they dropped me. You know what I mean? Like,
Did they pay for the vehicle?
yeah, they paid for it. Yeah, and then they said, you drop. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I got a brand new $25,000 vehicle. But
Right.
That's correct.
Right.
Get to Ducking Point says, think about the insurance companies collapse on the stock market and investor retirement funds. Yeah, very possible. The key to this whole thing, in my opinion, is not to separate all these sort of disasters. It's to see them all as one because they're all pointing in the same direction. You know.
healthcare, insurance.
Mm-hmm.
The two things that piss me off over here.
Well, they're just not friendly people to work with. I mean, there's no way about it. It's never a good situation when you need them.
We're paying $6,000 as healthcare benefit. They call that a benefit. $6,000.
And you know what? People aren't going to have a lot of sympathy for people who own super mansions. So it's not going to be something that people want to hear about. Like, I didn't get my 35 million. I got 20 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because already you're seeing people on X gloating about mansions being burned and they can afford to lose them, and that us and them, you know,
yeah,
division.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always been about division in the United States from like an outsider point of view.
100%, yeah.
Only way to get things done around here. No, it's
Well,
very strange.
You know, I want to give a shout out to Canada for coming in with the super scoopers.
Yeah,
we got busted. One of your big drones like busted into our super scooper from Quebec, and put a hole in it. So we came in to help out with our super scoopers. Which, by the way, why do you guys not have those?
I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, you have literally everything else. You have bayonets to spare. You decided to save the smelt and make a dry countryside where it's like all it takes is the right wind. And yet, like, these things look like toys. Like, it's hilarious. The super scoopers, they're so cool to watch, though.
Yeah.
They like dump like 1,500 like huge amounts, like just boom. Like they're just like those what's that bird, like a crane with the big mouth? Yeah, and they just dump like a shit ton of water on everything.
A pelican. I think you're thinking of a pelican.
A pelican. Yeah.
But you see how bad it was? Like, they had those planes flying, and it looked like they were doing nothing. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. And well, and they're like probably setting a perimeter of some kind. I don't even know how you do that. Some sort of maybe.
I'm saying they're dropping so much water, and that's how bad it was.
It's just the wind. It's just so difficult when the winds pick up. And today was supposed to be the day where the winds picked up.
Oh, good point. Get to ducking point. I think local economy hits the loss of mansions like maids, nannies, lawn care, big
yeah.
time.
Oh,
Big
huge.
time.
Yeah. All the jobs. All
All the
All of
jobs.
the jobs. Yeah.
Caterers, like, I mean, the trickle down effect is going to be intense. We haven't even gone there yet.
Yeah.
I just want to put out there that you probably don't need to move here.
You're not hiring maids?
No, I just meant for any places, because you're probably not going to stay in Los Angeles and you need a new place to move to. And if you think about moving anywhere, maybe someplace else in California is the right place for you.
Okay, well, you're on the record. You're on the record telling the Californians. Where will the Californians want to go?
I don't know.
Las Vegas, perhaps?
I don't know. There's 100. It's only because there's 180 or like 200,000 people who are displaced, right? It's only because it's such a huge amount of people. It's not necessarily the Californians themselves. It's like, what are we going to need? Are we going to need housing for 100,000 new people? Because we have a similar climate. We're just not on the ocean.
So I should probably go on record in Vancouver and say, please don't move here. We do have super mansions, but we're also overrun.
Yeah. You're like, and don't come to Canada.
Yeah, I know. It's like everybody's like default, like they don't like something, so they're coming to Canada. It's like, you know, we don't have the space. We're already maxed out.
So that means they're going to the Hamptons.
They can go to Las Vegas, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. That's the problem. Get to ducking point. Idaho is quite conservative. Boise, on the other hand, is not conservative. A lot of people move here.
Vancouver is definitely save the smell country.
Yeah.
Like, they would feel so at home here. And like a lot of times when they do filming in Vancouver, people end up staying. Or getting a place here because it's
gorgeous.
They call it Hollywood North.
They do? I thought that was Idaho.
Well, probably, but they film so much here. Yeah, they film so much here that you see them like house hunting, and they're always surprised by the price of the homes. And yeah.
Tahoe?
Where did they film Suits?
I don't know.
I think in like Montreal or Toronto.
Oh, is that in Canada?
Yeah, because they're filmed in Canada. It was supposed to take place in New York, but it was filmed in Canada.
All right.
It's probably a mix then, because we usually mix it up with Vancouver and Toronto. It's such a fraction of the cost for them to come out here. I don't want to get too lost in those weeds, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much loss there's going to be in general. And what do you guys want to talk about as far as like conspiracies with this? Like, what do you think's next? What do you think's coming? What do you guys foresee? I mean, we always do a little bit of a futuristic look.
Yeah.
There'll be one more attack on Trump. There'll be an attack on Trump.
Oh, come on. Of course. Do you mean
week.
Before the inauguration?
It is this week. We got 7 days to the inauguration.
Oh, gosh.
I hope he's hiding in a glass room and nobody gets anywhere near.
They're thinking about calling it off.
Are they really?
Yeah,
I haven't heard that.
Yeah. I heard it today.
There's not a chance in hell he's going to miss it. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, no.
We'll make it closed door.
I don't think he would ever do that. He's so big into his crowd sizes.
Well, then he may catch a bullet.
I feel like he'd rather have the bullet than a small crowd.
Oh, wow. Maybe.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I think he would have said that before he got bullet hit his ear, but now I don't think he thinks like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what Get to Ducking Point thinks is next. Do you think the inauguration is a target? What's the next target? What's the next move? Are we going to cycle into a new disaster? Are we staying on this disaster? Is this disaster
hasn't even, it's barely contained.
Yeah, it's not contained.
Yeah.
Right. I also think Elon gets assassinated in the next 2 years.
Oh, boom. That's one of your predictions? I was just thinking we were talking about next week.
Eric's like, I just think the world's going to shit.
Yeah.
World War
No,
III.
I just think he's going to get assassinated. I told you that yesterday.
Yeah.
What? Why?
Because he's doing dirty things.
Ah.
Well, he definitely is making MAGA upset.
He's
got a lot.
He's upsetting people that not supposed to be upset with him, right?
He got a foot in the door and he's fucking with it.
They believe that he kind of bought his place at the table and that he's overstepping his bounds. And that he should be in the learning phase of MAGA and not the cream of the crop mouthpiece at the moment. From what I can gather, I watched a little bit of Candace Owens and Michaela Peterson going at it. And it was kind of enlightening. I didn't know everybody felt that way, but apparently it's a big division about Elon.
Huh.
I'm going to do a deep dive into him.
Yeah, he's rich. I'm like,
That's all I got. Well, one thing about him is like, so this is an argument that Candace Owens has, and this is kind of a side mission again, but one thing that Candace Owens said about him, which is true, is he's not a true conservative in that he has like 20 babies' mothers. He's not like pro-family. He's kind of pro himself.
He's not American.
Yeah, there's that too.
Like, he wants to go to Mars, so that's not conservative. He is pro-robot, so that's transhuman. Right? So there's a few things that, for the conservatives, for a true conservative, are a red flag. All right, Get to Ducking Point says, agree. No way Trump agrees to smaller inauguration. Okay, so we're both on that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's next. Crisis, chaos coming from. Definitely think it will be a conspiracy society manipulation psyop. Oh, man. Can we take any more? Like, is this an exercise in just exhausting people? Because I'm Canadian and I'm exhausted. And I don't live in those cities.
I know.
Once Trump gets in, he's going to pat himself on the back. Watch. He's going to do something extravagant. He'll pat himself on the back. That's what he said.
Well, he said day one, we're getting the drone knowledge. He's coming out to tell us about the drones. He said day one.
We'll see.
Like after the inauguration, he just comes on and starts telling us?
Day one.
That's day one.
So, when do we start counting? Does he get to rest and have a cheeseburger first?
My question is, okay, he's going to tell us, but what is it? Like, it can wait? It's not that important if it can wait.
Well, why does he not have that intel yet? Like, why wouldn't he be read in by, like, NASA? Like, I guess he would be read in, right? So he must think it's important enough for people to know.
For a month? We waited a month for it? Like, that's the bullshit. Like, that's...
Well, put in your complaints.
I'm going to.
Tweet.
I'm just saying, it doesn't seem like it's... If it's like something bad, you don't wait a month.
Yeah.
Or if he's going to just tell us some bullshit.
Get to Ducking Point says, right, but look what he's doing to keep the UK grooming gangs grape of UK children. Oh, yeah. That's a big conversation. For sure. I agree with you, though. We need to talk about that.
UK.
So your prediction, Eric, is that there's going to be an event like during or tied to the inauguration?
I said they're going to try and take him out, and whatever. The Secret Service or someone's going to be a hero, and he's going to everyone's going to get like when he almost got shot, how they pumped him up, and he was Superman pumping his fist. It's going to be another moment like that, pumping up the government like they're doing great things. Just to throw you off of all the other shit going on now. That's my theory.
Trump does like a show.
Yeah.
This is upstaging him. I will say that. He does not like to be upstaged.
It's true. And it is like so close to his big day.
He's better than Biden, but he's no fucking angel.
I like get to says they highly doubt Biden admin would be sharing the fully classified information with them yet because they don't have to.
Oh yeah, I mean he doesn't have the great brain capacity. You could probably share it with him, but if you work with people with dementia, you know that they can't remember what they had for breakfast that day. So you can share anything like you like with them.
Oh, that's horrible.
Okay, so
But
do you have any predictions, Sophie? What's
I don't
next?
I don't know, tsunami.
Oh, jeez, please.
I
No.
mean, I'll get the, what is that game, that the apocalypse game or whatever. Get it, the dice roll out and see if it says tsunami or like earthquake. There was some earthquakes off the coast of the Bay Area yesterday and today. So I wouldn't be surprised there was an earthquake someplace. I don't know what to predict next. I don't know when they're going to get this under control in California. How far can it burn?
Hose far. Can
How's,
this?
yeah, exactly. How long?
How
It's
long
how
can this
long LA gonna be on fire?
LA wildfire continue? One thing I have noticed with the news cycle is we're literally swapping one thing for the next. So I'm with Eric in that, like, the next big thing is going to be a big thing. Biggest thing I can think of is an attack on Trump, of course.
Aliens.
Well, if he releases information about the drones and it turns out it is aliens, that would also be huge. But I think that wouldn't even upstage like losing California, would it?
Aliens? Yeah, I think it might. I think it might.
A locust invasion. No kidding.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't seen frogs falling from the sky yet either. We wait for that. We do have locusts here though, and it's funny. We do have Mormon crickets here that we get that are huge, and we have huge invasions of them, and we may be having one of those this year again. Yeah, they're gross. They're almost locusts, so it's almost like a locust invasion. It's pretty gross.
My prediction is the next big thing is going to be tied to the inauguration. I don't know that it's going to be, a full out like event where we see it, but it could be that they arrest people in conjunction with a plan.
It's gonna be a feel good event. It's gonna be like
It could be something along those lines that really grabs our attention and brings it back to Trump, because you got to think nobody was really interested in this election, to be honest. Like the election was kind of waning in interest, and then when that assassination attempt happened, everybody focused 100% of their attention back on it, right? So now we're all talking about California, we're talking about drones, we're talking about a lot of various things, bombers, terrorists. Trump is really good at bringing it back to him. So
yeah, get to talking points with me.
Aliens trump everything.
Yeah, aliens. I think it'd be the biggest deal ever.
Well, I mean, if the drones turn out to be aliens.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And Trump can roll that out and tell us and come out looking like a good guy because he's the one like actually willing to tell us. But really what's happening is they're rolling out sort of more of a AI, robot, drone kind of lifestyle.
We are writing a screenplay.
I don't like that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like that's always been the goal, is to become sort of dependent on AI, right? So
that's kind of gross. It's kind of weird, but I get it.
Yeah, I mean, alien technology would all be sort of robotic, right? I would assume.
I don't know.
Because look at the drones.
That's what they feed us. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they're here to eat us. So I mean, exactly.
Have you guys looked up? Oh, there was a guy I looked up last night, and it like rocked my world. I think I posted about it. His name's Phil Schneider, and he was the original whistleblower from Area 51 before we had the other ones.
Okay.
And he does 2-hour talks at a time. He was a engineer and a geologist of some type, and he said the aliens are not friendly.
Yeah, that's why I don't want us to shoot at them. That was what I was
I don't
scared.
see how they know that though.
Well, they have them. They had them, according to him. If you guys
Yeah.
are
Oh, I believe
interested,
that. Yeah.
watch the
If you
yeah, and
cage a dog, it's not going to be friendly either.
It
sure.
is. Get to ducking point. I said that yesterday. China, China. It's China. They're sending
Yeah,
the,
could be.
they're sending the drones. They're lighting America on fire.
But you know who else told us it was China? China was the Tesla bomber.
Oh, was that
Yes.
his? That was his thing. Yeah.
If we reread his information, he said that it's our your guys' technology,
Yeah.
and China has had it.
You're practically one of us.
I know. Look at the super scoopers.
Look. Yeah, you're like our top hat.
Bestie.
Yeah. I think it's funny though because we apparently this couldn't be done without you guys. If you think about it like that, we need you guys.
No. Yeah. I mean, I think it's hilarious whenever that we fight. It kind of reminds me of like in our like friend group, this friend group that we have that, created this channel. Like there's little fights, but like it's never gonna catch because you know, we're a team, right?
Diplomatic.
Yes.
We're
Canada.
diplomatic. We understand.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, so we've got more to come, I guess, right? And
Yeah.
thank you to our expert. I mean, I thought that was super interesting what you guys uncovered, and I hope he comes on the show. What are the chances? What do you think, Sophie?
Thanks
I'd
to
love
the
to.
our
I'd love
expert. That was
to.
great.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I barely even touched on all the information he had because it's just so much. It's a lot of it's stuff. If we were gonna deep dive um the things that were taken, to me, it seems like it's not going to be the main story right now. Like we're
Well,
probably going to get
yeah,
information on there's got to be cameras. I got to assume this is something that can be solved really quickly once they have people who can do it, you know? Because
yeah,
there's cameras everywhere. There's no
right.
way for these people to drive out of the fence and not be on a camera within a block.
They might
There's
even know when they're hiding it from us.
Yeah, maybe they already have them. Maybe they're
Well,
already back.
I'm not comfortable with random people having three of your guys' Humvees and bayonets and mounts for machine guns. I think that they should recoup those ASAP, and they need to prosecute those people because
It's
had they gotten the uniforms that they were trying to get, that could
right.
have been all out chaos. And
And they
if they
did get
are bad people, that's going to incite people to not trust the military and to possibly use force on first responders.
yeah.
And that scares me for our first responders, who I think are the true heroes.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely.
well, absolutely. This is terrifying. And the people who aren't leaving and not understanding or not heeding evacuation orders and making it difficult for the first responders is so sad to me. Like you're putting people's lives at risk who are putting their lives at risk already. Like it's just not fair.
Mm-mm. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for everybody? I mean, we've been on for now
Almost
2 hours.
close. 153.
Well, yeah, I think my final thoughts are I couldn't have any more respect for the expert that I talked to. I keep wanting to say specialist, to the expert I talked to. I do hope they come on. If they don't want to, I am glad that they'll keep explaining things because I love the wealth of knowledge. I loved getting to ask questions that may not be relevant to everybody. You know, like maybe when you were asking me questions that I probably should have asked him.
But it just goes to show that, he probably is the type, my dad's this type too, because my dad's an electrical engineer. If you ask my dad a question
Mhm.
about like a light socket, you're going to get so much useless, not useless, but like useless to me information because I don't have the skill set that my dad has. So to him, it's like very fundamental information. And to me, I just can't put it into the right context. But the great thing about people with those like engineer brains is that they leave no stone unturned. They absolutely look at every detail.
Oh yeah.
And I'm so encouraged that you guys have people like that in your military and in
Mm-hmm.
your special forces, because
Mm-hmm.
that goes to show me they take it so, so seriously. They are dedicated. And the fact that he would be willing to spend 3 hours of his time talking to like civilians and like
Mm-hmm.
average Joes and try to be so like open with us and
Oh
help
yeah.
us to see how the military sees things is like so encouraging and beautiful. And I just want to say thank you to him and to his better half, because they're just so amazing, both of them.
My deep throat source.
Yes. Thank you again to them.
We'll
It was
bring
good
we'll
stuff.
bring the deep throat source on eventually. Good night. Get to Ducking Point.
Good night,
Aw, good
Getsu.
night, get to
Thanks for
Ducking Point. You are
spending the
our
night with us
girl.
once again. We appreciate you.
Too
Yes, we
sleepy.
do.
Yes.
We love chatting with you.
Good
Um,
night, sweet girl. Yeah,
um,
we'll talk to you in the comments. I'll drop as much info as I can.
mm-hmm.
New
All
York
right.
strong.
Yeah, that's right. And LA strong too, because that's what's happening right now also. But New York strong for you guys.
And thank you for your kind words about Canada. We will continue to be your bratty sister.
Oh, we appreciate you. All right. Good night, folks. We'll talk to you guys later.
Stay safe.
Bye bye.
Yeah.